Today on CityCast Denver, it's time for another food battle. This time, it's a sandwich showdown, a hoagie horse race, a game of grinders Colorado style. In one corner, Boulder's own Snarf sandwiches, a staple of the Denver Metro's fast casual scene. In the other corner, it's Cheba Hut, coming straight out of Tempe, AZ, but endearingly targeting our very own local weed culture. So, which carpetbagging hoagie is truly the hometown hero? Me, Paul, Aaron, and Peyton are going to figure it out. Today is Friday, August 12th, 2022. I'm Bree Davies, and this is CityCast Denver. Welcome back to CityCast Denver, the show that learned that its newsletter writer Peyton didn't know what Cheba meant until...
You know what? Honestly, I don't either. I'm a person that enjoys weed sometimes. I don't know what Cheba is.
I mean, I'm not immersed in weed culture, Aaron, are you?
No, but I know a bit.
So we're not actually talking about weed today. We are talking about Snarfs versus Cheba Hut, our latest food showdown involving two sandwiches that are from pretty much local, regional chains. I don't want to say local because Snarf's is Boulder based and Cheba Hut is Tempe.
That's where it was founded.
Arizona.
Yeah, we can get more into that later, but it is a fun story too.
I'm interested because I have to say Snarf's is not an interesting story.
Okay. Can we talk about why this matchup happened? Maybe this was just me, but I have always felt ever since I moved here that Snarfs and Cheba Hut were like at loggerheads constantly. Like this was a fight that existed, that if you're going out for sandwiches in Denver and you want to have a cheap one, you're either going to Snarfs or you're going to Cheba Hut. Is that everyone else's impression too? Was this a matchup before?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I don't really feel like Cheba Hut has a super strong presence in the circles that I run in, at least. I know a lot of Snarfs fanatics, so I always knew Snarfs had a really strong following. I was interested when you pulled Cheba Hut out of the lineup to like go against Snarfs. I don't know a ton of people who are like obsessed with Cheba Hut, so
I agree with Peyton in that I never made that connection. But Paul, why didn't you choose Quiznos, the other sub shop based out of Colorado?
And also toasted.
Also toasted. Well, I mean, I kind of wanted to throw it in. I mean, after we initially talked about this, we thought this would be a fun head-to-head. But then, Quiznos was founded here. These other two, we quickly learned, were not. But then when we discussed tossing it in, no one actually wanted to eat Quiznos.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the answer right
sad
there.
Truth.
Oh, that's because I don't have to taste Quiznos to tell you that Quiznos is horrible. Like it's horrible.
And it's not good horrible in the way that you and I, as two basic gals, love McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
It's just gross.
I'm not on any high horse.
No.
I like me a Subway sandwich.
Oh,
I won't eat Quiznos. I think Quiznos is gross. They do have a very interesting story that we covered at one time in the newsletter, and it's fascinating.
I'll have to go look that up because I didn't hate Quiznos.
Really?
Yeah. I forget what kind of little Sammy. They put it through the oven. Like, this is pretty good. But then it closed. So maybe I was the only one in northern Colorado
who was just really in it for a Quiznos.
Now that I think about it.
Peyton, tell us, I know we've been talking, we've been putting a call out to readers and listeners for a few weeks now about this. Tell us about what people think about this.
Yeah, so we've put it in the newsletter a few times and we've mentioned it in the show a few times and we got some emails. I will start with saying that we got a lot of emails that showed Snarf's love, but all of them were just like, yeah, go Snarfs. I like Snarfs. Snarfs is the best. Yeah, it never really dived in. So they've got a strong but very vague fan base among our readers.
I mean, I think that just says they do a good sandwich.
Yeah, people were just like, I don't need to say anything more. Just Snarfs is cool. We did get at least one email, though, who this reader had a lot of major praise for Cheba Hut. Reader Rosa C says, I haven't been to Snarf's, even though I live right next to one, but I am a huge fan of Cheba Hut. I'm from the East Coast, and we don't really have good alternatives to substandard Subway. The best alternative is probably Jimmy John's. which says a lot about our options there. Cheba Hut is such a vibe. It's the go-to, cheap, fast, easy lunch spot for me and my friends, and I have always had consistently good sandwiches. I am a vegetarian, and I adore the magic mushroom sandwich with garlic bread, extra yellow mustard, and their buffalo hot sauce, an essential addition if you like spice and heat, and the Kool-Aid. Another bonus, I highly recommend mixing all 3 flavors together. It doesn't make the prettiest color, but it tastes damn good. Cheba Hut all the way.
Wow.
So she really gave us.
I like her point, though. Like, I think the East Coast thing comes up a lot when we talk about subs, sandwiches, hoagies, grinders, all the different iterations of a type of sandwich. And it's a common refrain is like, Denver doesn't know what a good sandwich is like that. And I love that Cheba Hut's kind of the Western United States version of its own thing.
Yeah, interesting.
It's not trying to be something else.
Huh.
It's just is what it is.
And what it is a weed-themed
sandwich
joint. And they go hard on the weed theme. Oh, my God.
Yes.
I don't even know most of these names for the sandwiches. And I mean, not that I'm immersed in weed culture at all in any way, but I know a couple of things, but just from watching like Snoop Dogg and stuff.
You're so cute.
Smoke weed every day.
I mean, I'm a young millennial who spends a lot of time in Boulder, and I didn't even know Cheba was a weed reference. I didn't know Fatty was a weed reference. I didn't know any of these names.
Until today.
You are the cutest.
Yeah, until you guys have described it
I
to
love
me.
feeling like the old pro about weed, and I'm not really even like a huge connoisseur.
Right.
But, well, Paul, you looked into the story of Cheba Hut. Can you tell us more about where it came from?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It started with one guy named Scott Jennings. He was born and raised in Nebraska and then went to university in Arizona State, big party school. That was always the reputation I knew, at least. Peyton, shaking your head.
Yeah,
Same.
Willie went there for a hot minute. Came back with 0 credits. And then I met him at CSU.
Very cool. Well,
Oh, that's a sweet little meet cute. Basically failed, ended up at college with you. That's cute.
Well, Scott Jennings' story, he stuck around at ASU and he loved it. Because after he graduated, he started a sandwich shop just off of campus, Cheba Hut. That's what it became. And from what I could tell, he knew he wanted to start some type of restaurant, and he knew he loved weed, but he didn't know what exact type of restaurant to start. So here's a quote from celebstoner.com, which was the best interview with Scott Jennings I could find. Actually, pretty good interview from celebstoner.com. They asked him, where did Cheba Hut come from? He said, it came from Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams.
There goes that smoke alarm again.
Hey, man, I told you not to smoke that shit in the kitchen, man.
It's that cooking, man.
I was going to do an ice cream shop first and call it Nice Dreams, name the flavors after different types of herb, but that was seasonal. I knew sandwiches. I didn't know ice cream. Toasted subs are a lot better than regular subs. I wanted to keep it real. I wanted people to see that stoners can be smart business people.
What a success story.
And honestly, yeah, he did. It's now got 45 locations across the Southwest and the Midwest, and the city with the most locations is Denver. And he lives here now. So I think that it's actually, fair for us to take some credit for Cheba Hut's success. This is a city that has embraced this sandwich chain.
Well, and for sure. And when I get into the Snarf story, it's not like a local does kind of thing either. So
I know we had one near campus up at CSU in Fort Collins. It was hot in college. People love Cheba Hut, and I do think a lot of it has to do with that cannabis theme and less to do with like the actual sandwiches.
Well, and I want to say, so cannabis legalization in Colorado was 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pre that, it had this illicit feeling, right? So there was something fun about getting into something that was quote unquote illegal. So I could see the appeal being even greater prior to legalization because it was part of this thing that had its own underground culture.
Totally. But I could also see then the legalization of cannabis not doing anything bad for it either.
No,
Yeah.
exploding it. But I could see the appeal. Like I'm
Totally.
thinking about 420 pre it's legal. Like the celebration of 420 when I was in high school was like you're going to the Capitol and you're standing on the grass and like this is like you are just showing up to something that feels very, I don't want to just say illegal, but like
risky.
Yeah, like you're cool. And so I can see why it would be
Totally.
attractive prior to our legalization, but then only just take off as part of that culture evolved here in Denver.
Should we talk more about the weed thing with Cheba Hut? Because I think there's like a lot to dig into here. The whole menu is themed around weed. Like every sandwich is named after a strain. They have all these like crazy flavor combinations, and like their sides are really different and out there.
It's like very jokey, right? Like that's like the bowl of balls is a
Bowl
side
of balls.
is a side item at Cheba Hut, and that's not weed themed. That's just like dick joke,
Funny.
right? It's not like I don't know.
I can't think of a less appetizing way to describe a serving of meatballs, but also at the same time, I was kind of intrigued because you just want to tell someone, yeah, I'll have the bowl of balls.
Also, it's like 1:30 a.m. You're high. You go to Cheba Hut. You think it's hilarious, so you order it. Like I think that's
Good
kind of
point.
what they're going for.
That's Scott Jennings' key business innovation is the take advantage of the person who's too high.
Oh yeah.
I mean, clearly it's worked. And I mean, I love that it does run just counter to the idea of a stoner sitting on the couch, accomplishing nothing.
High functioning stoners are an entire segment of the population as well. I am very good friends with many of those. So he happened to be one.
He does seem like a cool dude. I mean, read a few interviews, saw a few interviews. Scott Jennings, I'd love to meet you.
I just want to give some examples of the menu since if you've never been there before. The Sticky Icky is the PB&J, and the Toker tip, the recommendation with that is to get it with Kool-Aid, which we learned from our guest last week, Justine Sandoval. You can get Kool-Aid on tap from Cheba
Apparently, different flavors, and reader Rosa C says to mix them all together for the best experience.
Don't look at it, just drink
A
it.
suicide Kool-Aid. There's also, I think, Pay and I got the AK-47, which we'll tell you more about what that is later.
Is that a
That's
weed
a
reference?
strain.
Okay.
It's a strain of weed. Because there's this thing with weed strains that are just like dumpster and like just like really intense things. I don't know. That's something we should get into later. But yes, AK-47 is a type of weed.
You'll have an after the interview weed lesson with me.
Okay.
Okay.
What did you get, Erin? What was yours called?
I got the Lacana,
Okay. So like
Which I'm-
cannabis.
cannabis, yep.
Paul.
The Grifo, which was one of their several vegetarian options. This was the one with avocado and also cream cheese. Very creamy sub. Very fatty, very creamy.
Fatty, I think that's a big... What's the fatty? Fatty's
Fatty.
an addition you can get right to your sandwich.
Yeah, Aaron,
Yeah.
what was that?
I forgot. I went full fatty on my Lacana, and it was extra cheese.
Extra cheese. Okay.
Can we talk about the food? Can we just get I'm desperate to know how you all felt
Yeah.
about these sandwiches.
Yeah.
I will just say at first I was underwhelmed because, a 4-inch sandwich, we all got the smallest version that they have at Cheba Hut because we were going to be eating multiple sandwiches. But I was like, we opened the bag and it was just like these little wads of aluminum foil. And I was like, I don't know about this. And then I opened it and so Pay and I got the AK-47, which is a sort of like a French dip, but theirs usually comes with 2 types of mushrooms, onions, and cheese. And in a traditional French dip, the way I like it, it's just the roast beef. So we both modified ours a little bit and we just went cheese and meat. But I have to say it was delicious.
Okay.
It was surprisingly very good. Pay?
I have to say that the 4-inch, I liked that because I don't need a big sandwich. I never finish a big sandwich, so I liked the small option. And yeah, I was surprisingly impressed by it. I thought it was good. I've had worse French dips.
How was the bread for you? Because I don't love a French dip, I will admit, because I don't like dunking
Soggy
it.
bread?
Yeah, I don't like soggy bread. How did it hold up?
I thought
It was good.
great.
In fact, once I got full and I knew I had to make room for a whole nother sub, I just took out the meat and dipped the bread because let me just say the au jus was really good. I was very impressed by the au jus. I'm saving it. I'm taking it home, finding other stuff to dip in it. And I did just dip the bread in it. I thought it was great. Yeah.
I loved the bread. I think Cheba Hut's bread is terrific. Really like fluffy, but a nice crisp around the outside.
Yeah.
Never got in the way. Brought a nice flavor in its own right. Just a great sandwich bread.
I agree.
And I haven't said this yet, but I came into this battle with a huge bias against Cheba Hut. I've had some bad experiences there, and I haven't been back in years until we agreed to do this. And I don't know. Of
course,
they made it hard.
I know.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was never antagonistic, but it was like. But
Paul loves to carry on beefs with local restaurant chains.
This is just the latest in a line.
And he always reveals it later, and we're like, wait a minute, what? Erin, what'd you think of your sandwich? So you got like an Italian.
I did.
Right?
I went for the Italian, and it was phenomenal. The deli meat was a little bit smoky. I don't know I can't remember what kind it was. Just had a bunch of Italian deli meats in it. So good. I got the pickle.
You're not a pickle person usually, or?
I am, but not on an Italian sub, but it was recommended, so I got it. I have to say it was very good. Very crunchy, but yeah, I got the wheat bread too. I don't know if anyone else did.
No, how was it?
Tell us about the wheat bread.
So good. I don't know. The flavor of it was really great.
Yeah.
I like the Snarf spread too, but I have to say this was more flavorful. I don't know. It was just perfect.
There was something about the bread. It almost had like a fried taste to it, not a texture to me, but just like the taste sometimes you get from something fried. It was so good.
It's been like 2 hours now since we ate that, but from what I remember, I feel like it was just like a loaf of French bread cut open, which, no hate, I love French bread. That's what I felt like mine was.
I thought it was good.
I do have one question. So I don't know if you guys all got the shake. I think that's their distinctive or their like signature seasoning. I don't know what's in it, but I added it, because that's, it's something signature. And I would have thought it would have been especially prevalent on a sandwich that was as plain as what you and I got.
Meat and cheese.
I didn't taste anything that felt distinctive. It tasted like meat and cheese. So I was just curious if you guys noticed anything super distinct. It might have been harder on your sandwiches.
No, I can't say I noticed at all.
Okay.
I didn't either, but I had a lot of different flavor profiles happening.
So it's hard to notice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't notice either.
So the bread is good. We're agreeing that we like the bread, right?
Yeah.
Peyton's maybe
I like the
so-so.
bread, but we'll get into it later. But I like Snarf's better.
Okay. Well, I like the bread quite a bit from Cheba Hut. I also like the fillings really a lot.
And what did you get, Paul?
I got the grifo, which was the guacamole, the cream cheese, and then just kind of like, and this is my problem with Cheba Hut in general. Maybe it's just the vegetarian options. I haven't tried the meat ones, but it just feels like they just toss everything at it. And it becomes kind of messy and it doesn't really like stick together as a sandwich.
I want to say, Paul, this is a common complaint you've had with vegetarian options at burger restaurants as well.
I have thought about that at burger restaurants, yeah.
You want something like solid in this. You don't just want it to be a toppings sandwich. Does it feel like a topping sandwich to you?
Yes. All of the Cheba Hut vegetarian sandwiches feel like toppings palooza.
Yeah.
How did it strike you this time?
The same. I mean, I think it's really good quality ingredients. Like, I give them a lot of credit. I like the ingredients on their own from Cheba Hut better than Snarf's pretty much every time. The construction of the sandwich and the design of the sandwich, I feel like it's maybe more a product of the stoner's hands than the stoner's imagination. The
haphazard nature of the sandwich.
Yeah.
The cream cheese will hold it all together. That's fine.
Yeah, cream cheese and guacamole just does not sound good to me.
It wasn't my favorite. It was okay. I mean, it just was like kind of like fatty creamy. Not a lot of distinctive flavors.
Which is a good combo usually, but I don't know.
What did you all think about the fillings and the quality of the ingredients?
Well, we got so few ingredients in ours. I'll say, like I said earlier, I think it was better than what I anticipated it would be. And we'll get into this with Snarf's, but I think Snarf's had higher quality meat.
I think I was really torn because I wanted to do a similar sandwich at each place, but I didn't want to do the Italian because Aaron was doing that, and that's my usual go-to at Snarf's. But I don't know if I ended up with a sandwich that is like a Cheba Hut sandwich.
Right.
Because we got so many things taken off at Pay.
That's indicative of like what they
Yeah.
can do. I agree.
So I don't know if I can adequately judge
Yeah.
Cheba Hut as best as I wanted to. For a real plain French dip with cheese, it was good. Like Pay said, the au jus was like perfect saltiness, just the right amount. It wasn't overpowering, but it still had enough flavor to make it the sandwich good.
So yes, our sandwiches were very plain, which I think kind of, is a knock
Defeats
that
the
is our own
purpose.
product. But their options I would have taken off no matter what, because I don't like mushrooms. I think it's kind of a weird thing to put on a French dip. And that was it. The only additions they had on there was mushrooms and onions, and I would have taken those off.
I mean, I also
No matter
think raw
what.
onions are for psychos. I just like
Okay.
a raw onion on a sandwich. Like, so the whole sandwich just smells and tastes like an armpit? No, thank you.
What did you think of your fillings, Erin?
They were awesome. I have to say, my husband and I had been on this kind of charcuterie kick for a while. We stopped at Thanksgiving trying to do a turkey or anything like that. It's like, let's just get some meats and some smoked salmon and put it on a board.
Great idea.
It was so much fun, and it looked really fancy, and it was just the two of us, but we felt like, okay, this is nice. So I say that to say I've had a lot of this kind of meat over the last
Okay.
over the last year, and so this was good. Like I said, it had this kind of smoky flavor, almost like a smoky ham to it. So good. It did have some raw onion on it, but it wasn't overpowering. And I thought the seasoning and the dressing or the oil worked really well. But again, the bread held up to it. Have you ever gotten a sub where you get the oil and it just
Like soaks the whole. Ugh.
Yeah,
I don't get
gross.
oil for that very reason.
I love that. I love a sloppy sandwich. Oh,
Really?
just soak it. It's just so. I was in line at a sandwich shop once behind a mom and a kid, and the kid asked the person making the sandwich to make it swim.
Wow.
Oh, not me.
And the mom was like, "Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him."
I don't want
Like,
to.
I'll
I'm
have
like,
what he's having.
as a mom, I don't want to clean that up. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, in many, many ways. So
Yeah.
not the case with this one. It was great.
Time for Snarfs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's take a quick break and then let's get back to it.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Okay, so we're back. We're talking Snarfs. We just went through our Cheba Hut experience. Snarfs, to give you a little background, started in Boulder in 1996 by Jimmy Snarf Seidel. Snarf is a nickname he got in college for apparently being able to inhale food. I don't know about that.
All right.
I have to say that Snarf's story isn't like, it's kind of what I call like white man trips and falls into a gold mine, kind of story.
Okay.
Where like, oh, he was a day trader in Wall Street and then was like, this job sucks. I want to do something fun. I'm going to make sandwiches. And he did. He made very good sandwiches. I will say out the gate, I was a Snarf's apologist before this. I have a strong bias towards Snarfs. I love their sandwiches. But at any rate, when I was doing my research, what I found interesting was Boulder at the time in the 90s, and I think anyone would tell you this now probably, had a pretty robust sandwich scene already. So it's not like it was something missing from the culinary landscape. But I read that someone thought Snarfs offered real, quote, grinders, like an actual East Coast option. But Jimmy is from St. Louis, so I don't know how much of that's true.
I don't know. St. Louis is a sandwich town.
I think that's where Panera's from.
Oh, yeah.
Not saying that that's like a sandwich
Yeah,
place.
that they're setting the gold standard
No.
for sandwiches, but okay.
No, I go to Panera to eat my feelings in a bowl made out of
Oh,
bread
it's
with
all
cheese
about
in
the
it.
bread bowls.
That's why you go there.
I heard someone talk about Panera. They said that's a place where you go to give someone bad news.
Oh my gosh, do you know how
Isn't that
accurate
just,
that is?
like,
I've always
totally on
received
point?
bad news at Panera.
Yes.
What?
It's so weird.
Oh, poor
Whenever
Panera.
I was having a bad day in high school, my mom would let me play hooky and she'd take me out to Panera, and that's where we would hang out while I sobbed into my bread bowl. It was kind of like, yeah, that's so funny.
It's definitely where I go to eat my feelings. Also, I just realized the Paneras in St. Louis are called the St. Louis Bread Company. I don't know why I know that.
Okay.
At any rate, something else is striking about Snarfs that I love is that they generally take old buildings and turn them into Snarfs. And Jimmy Seidel says he doesn't want a cookie cutter restaurant. And as he expands, he's done a really great job of picking really cool buildings. Two in particular for me are the 38th Avenue location, which is an old big top convenience store. So it's sort of cartoonishly shaped as a circus tent. And as our guest last week, Justine Sandoval, reminded me, it used to be a hair salon, but it has been a Snarf's for quite a while. It's a gorgeous building. I definitely recommend a visit there. The most recent one that I really love is the Sinclair gas station on South Broadway that they turned into a Snarf's. That thing was boarded up for like 40 years or something. It was great to see it turn into something cool. So I love that Snarf's does that. So they have more than 24 locations in Colorado, Texas, and Missouri, and they are planning to expand with 30 more across the country in the next 3 years. So they're doing great. I mean, anytime I've ever been into a Snarf's, it's like busy as hell. So that's a little background on Snarf's.
So that thing about the buildings is so right on.
Oh, I love
The Snarf that I spent the most time in was the one in Capitol Hill that used to be a laundromat.
An old laundromat,
on
yeah.
12th, where they took over the laundromat and then they opened the Snarf Burger next door in the old Snarf Sandwiches location. Just beautiful space.
I don't know much about running a restaurant. In fact, I know zero. But that's got to be hard because I think, if you've got a chain, you need the same setup kind of in every store.
Yeah.
How do they do that with these different buildings?
I don't know because they all look different.
It's very illegal pizza of them. 'cause
Yeah,
illegal
Illegal
pizza
Pizza is
the
also
same
good at doing
thing.
that.
I don't know if they repurpose buildings as much as Snarf's, but they're very like every location caters to that community, so they're all very, very different, which is cool.
Business wise, it's smart to me because it fits into the neighborhood already. So it, you know what I mean? There's these sort of subtle cues that tell us something is local or not, and that can kind of, whether you realize it or not, make you feel like, oh, that's part of the
And it
neighborhood.
localizes something that is a
Often
chain
not
or
local.
like I mean, obviously Snarf's comes from Boulder, but you have this like sense of ownership over the Snarf's that's in your neighborhood. Like, oh well, my Snarf's is cooler than your Snarf's.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
So
and
it
you
sounds right.
you can say that because they're different.
Yeah. So
I do wish they kept the mural of Capitol Hill in that one laundromat location. They painted over an old mural. I didn't even ever see it, but someone told me this, and I just wish that had stayed.
Well, I see why though, because Snarf's has a very distinct '90s style of color scheme, and I think the artist name is Jen Healy. She does all the cartoon illustrations for them.
Yeah.
But it is very blocky '90s, bright colored. Might be why I like it too. It's got a retro feel to it. So I could see why they did. Not saying they should have, but I get it. That's the uniformity part.
Yeah. So Bree, sounds like you were a big Snarfs person for a long time. Big Snarfs fan.
Huge.
Peyton, what were your priors on Snarfs coming into this?
I didn't really know much about Snarf's until recent years when I met my husband, who was born and raised in Boulder. And Snarf's has a cult following in Boulder. It is huge. You meet anyone from Boulder, they're like obsessed with Snarf's. And that's how my husband was. He loved Snarf. He couldn't believe I ate any other sandwich that wasn't Snarf's. And then I tried it and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But like, I'm not like worshiping Snarf sandwich artists. I'm just like, yeah, they do a good sandwich. I see why you like it.
Aaron, how about you?
I had never had Snarf's or even heard of it until I started working with you guys.
Huh.
Really?
Okay.
Never even heard of it. And I have friends in Boulder. I have friends in Denver. Maybe they're just not sandwich people.
Maybe they're a different kind of sandwich person because Boulder's got a ton of sandwich places.
They really do. Yeah.
You know?
That's true. There's no shortage.
Well,
in
Aaron,
that
let's
town.
start with you then on impressions of today's sandwiches. What did you think?
Yeah. Can I start with the packaging? I know this is weird, but I love the way that this came wrapped. Point that Brie made about the Cheba Hut coming wrapped in, it was like these lumps of aluminum foil. You couldn't tell which was which. I don't know. These just come in a beautiful paper wrapper. You don't make a total mess. They're a little messy, but not that. But no.
But it kept the sandwich integrity.
Exactly.
That's the thing about the Snarf's wrap.
Yeah.
It's like the bread is messy, but the sandwich is like, they cut it down the middle and it's like a perfect dissection.
Yeah,
of this
and it's like perfect for re-wrapping and saving for later because they like wrap
They
the
know
sandwich and then cut it. So like the other half of my sandwich is still like perfectly wrapped up.
Exactly. Mine's other half sitting in the fridge, waiting for me to take it home.
No complaints on toppings falling out on the vegetarian sandwiches from Snarf's. I've always had a good experience there.
It's layered.
It's
You
layered.
can see it.
It's constructed well. It's thoughtfully designed for people. I love it. I think they're just really smart about that.
I agree with that.
You could walk down the street and eat this and not have it go
Yeah.
everywhere.
This is a one-handed, at least in my experience, it's a one-handed sandwich.
I don't know, man. Their bread. I love it, but it just like sheds.
It crumbles for sure. You're leaving breadcrumbs, but I mean,
why I have a dog.
Still, I think Paul's like dead on the structure of the structural integrity. It's there.
I mean, it's the tight wrap. You get a
It's
little
very
squeeze
tight.
on it, and things stick together. Cheba Hut was just like a loose mess inside that aluminum. It could have been anything. You could have been throwing it from across the room.
I mean, the aluminum wrap itself looked like a toddler did it. I mean, very haphazard. But anyways,
It's true.
how was your sandwich, Erin?
Moving on to the inside of the sandwich, again, I mean, I don't have any complaints. It was absolutely delicious. I think it could have used a little more cheese, but then again, I did get double cheese from Cheba Hut. So I would recommend adding extra cheese if you're into that. But no, it was perfect. And I don't know what kind of topping they use. It was a little bit of onion, but something else. And the
they
Is it
have-
the
peppers.
Is it
They-
the spicy peppers?
maybe it was the
Yeah, I was
spicy
Yeah,
gonna
that's
say they
their
have like a
specialty.
signature slaw, and I think it's kind of vinegary and it has spicy peppers.
It worked so well with these particular meats. I thought, oh, just delicious. The assortment was great. Yeah, that was a really good experience. I don't always think of a sandwich as an experience. This one kind of was.
I mean, the Jardinera, that's pretty special. That's delicious.
That's
what
their
they do there.
signature thing, right?
It's a thing that they offer that I think isn't necessarily what you can find at another
They put it,
shop.
and like unless you say otherwise, I'm pretty sure they put it on every sandwich.
Oh,
And
I'm
then
so picky. I
you
would
have
never
to
have any
request
idea.
to have it taken off. They serve it with their burgers too.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's like a Chicago thing, Jardinera, and like it makes sense because that Jimmy Seidel guy's from Chicago,
he did work in Chicago.
where he worked.
He's
there.
from St.
Okay.
Louis.
Oh,
but,
right. You said that.
But yeah, he spent quite a bit of time in Chicago.
I bet that's where he picked it up.
Yeah,
Can we talk about the bread? The Snarf's bread.
yeah.
All right. So for many years, like I said earlier, I've been a Snarf's person and I hadn't been back to Cheba Hut. But since going back to Cheba Hut in the last couple of weeks and really appreciating their bread, I don't know if Snarf's is doing it for me anymore. It's not enough. It's not interesting enough. It's just like all crustiness and not much like soft, nice, fluffy inside. And it's not bringing enough flavor for me. It's not bringing enough flavor.
Interesting.
I hear you. I felt the same. The texture of it was really nice, but it just didn't add anything, its own little dimension, the way Cheba Hut did. For
I
me.
think, yeah, Cheba Hut's bread was a standout. It's something I want to talk about. Snarf's bread, forgettable. Not interesting.
Do you agree with that, Brie?
I don't know. I didn't really pay as much attention to the bread clearly as Paul did.
Also, you're dipping it in jus.
Yeah. And both of them stood up to the au jus dip. So neither of them disintegrated. They like had a nice chew to them. I love Snarf's bread because it's a package for meat and cheese. But my only complaint is that it just sheds. It just like crumbles.
It does.
The tops of it crumbles off and it's always a giant mess.
That's what I thought. I think Snarf's bread is better. I just like it better. I think it might depend on what you like in your bread. If you want it to be more bready, you might like Cheba Huts better. I felt like Cheba Huts was just a French baguette sliced down the middle. So I don't feel like it had that much to offer. I think Snarf's is like toasted and pressed a little bit and extra crunchy. And I appreciate that crunch factor in my sandwich. So I think that their bread's better.
How about the jus? Let's go jus to jus.
It wasn't bad jus, but Cheba Huts, in my opinion, crushed. In fact, I stopped dipping in the Snarf's jus and then went back to the Cheba Hut jus.
I did the exact same thing.
It's just because I don't think Snarf's is bad. I just think Cheba Huts is really
Cheba Huts
good.
was like a little oily, salty, beefy. It was just like it had a little bit more dimension to it than Snarf's. I was kind of bummed that Snarf's was a little flat. Like, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was fine.
I still would have drank it either
Totally.
way.
Yeah.
Literally. Was that surprising? I just don't think of Cheba Hut as a place I would go for a French dip with au jus.
Yeah. I was trying something different. I am such a Snarf's Italian sandwich fan. I was trying to go a different route because in my research, the Italian is their most popular sandwich. And I was like, okay, a lot of people have had this, then maybe let's try something different. But I gotta say, I didn't love the Snarf's French dip as much as I absolutely love their Italian.
But was it better than Cheba Huts?
I don't think so.
I think it was.
Really?
I do. And I'm glad that I ate Cheba Huts first because I feel like if I would have had Snarf's first, it would have set too high of a bar. I had Cheba Huts. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm impressed. Then we had Snarf's and I was like, I just like Snarf's better. And I do think it might be the whole sandwich experience. It's the tight packedness of it. I thought that their meat was better quality. It was just like thinner, more thinly sliced. After I had Snarf's meat, Cheba Huts felt like something I bought from King Soopers, versus like premium meat. And this is probably a fault of my own, but I did add the hot peppers to my French dip from Snarf's, and it, I thought, brought a lot to the sandwich. I regret that I didn't add something to the Cheba Hut version. So Snarf's definitely had that edge. But overall, I thought the quality of meat, the quality of bread, the quality of structural integrity was all better from Snarf's.
Well, let's keep going around. Final verdicts. We're here. We're talking about it. It's time to
Well,
make the decision.
It's so hard because my other thing is Snarf serves Zapp's voodoo chips with their sandwiches, and they're just like this particularly sort of spiced potato chip that is insanely delicious, and it always makes, I don't know, there's a lot of things leaning me towards Snarf's, but I really enjoyed my Cheba Hut sandwich.
Well, you brought up the chips. Maybe we could take another second and talk about sides, because Cheba Hut offers quite a bit.
Yeah.
So let's think more about your final verdict, and we'll take an aside for sides. Cheba Hut, the desserts, the Captain Crunch marshmallow, the Rice
Why didn't
Krispie
we
thing.
get these?
Have you all had these?
No.
I think they're awesome.
They have a fruity pebble one, like that's
Get
like a Rice
out.
Krispie treat.
I
That
want
sounds
that.
delicious.
Yeah,
They'll sell
it
you a
does.
plate of nachos, but with Doritos instead of tortilla chips.
Yeah, because this is for stoners and all their weird cravings when they're super
I
high.
am 100% bought into this. That sounds
Yeah.
great to me.
I tried them a few weeks ago. It's fine. It's not as exciting as it seems, but it is fun. I mean, that's a cool idea.
I like that idea that a stoner was like, you know what would be good, man? And like, I have that mentality for sure.
That's what I'm talking about. It's the stoner's imagination. That's
Yeah.
what you want in a meal, not the stoner's hands. You don't want the stoner involved in the
This is making me
preparation of the
see
food.
these as almost too hard to compare.
For me, it's Snarf's all the way. And I don't know if part of that drawback for me is like, I'm not a stoner. I never was. I mean, obviously the stoner references go right over my head. So like, I don't have that affinity that like draws me to Cheba Hut. In fact, I just find it to be an obstacle. Especially the cravings. Like, I don't need your stoner imagination. I just want a really good sandwich. I don't need you to like feed me the things that you thought up last night at 4 a.m. while you were hot, So for me, it's Snarf's all the way. I mean, my Cheba Hut experience was fine, but I will be going back to Snarf's and not Cheba Hut.
Erin, you want to take it next?
I mean, for me, I love a good creative snack. And I do think, who do you want planning your snacks? someone who it's
A stoned
really
person.
important. Exactly, someone who takes it very seriously and gets a little creative. People use cannabis to unleash their creative potential, and I think
I've heard that.
we see that in the menu at Cheba for sure.
I'm too buttoned up for that.
I love the fun of it. I mean, I don't know if anyone takes it seriously, that it's really part of weed culture. I genuinely don't know. But as someone who is not immersed in that, I do find it fun. And maybe it makes me feel cool. I don't know.
So who's got your vote?
Yeah, give us the goods here.
Yeah, it's so hard, and I know I can't tie.
I know that's how I feel.
I'm going Cheba Hut. Cheba Hut Italian.
You had me on the edge of my seat there.
She's like, Cheba Hut.
There was just something about they both had really good quality meat, and I don't know if that's a signature sandwich for Cheba Hut the way it is for Snarf's, but they were both put together really nicely. One of the things I hate with a sandwich is when you get something too big. I mean, this is true of a lot of food, like sushi too. I hate when you just feel like you have to smush it to get it in your mouth. Both of these were the right size, kind of pressed a little bit, nice and toasty. But I think I'm going to go Cheba Hut. Paul, how about you?
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Veggie to veggie.
Veggie to
How do you-
veggie. I don't think I said this yet, but I did get the vegetarian from Snarf's this time, which is avocado and cheese. And then I ordered what I like to call the full Snarf, which is all of the toppings. You can say that at any of the locations, and sometimes they'll know what you're talking about.
You're trying to make it catch on. I know.
I would love it if it did.
Paul.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, it got really close here. I've been a Snarf's person for years, haven't really revisited Cheba Hut, but then was pretty impressed by the last couple of Cheba Hut experiences I had. At the same time, I did go to Snarf's a couple of times in preparation for this, and I went outside of my normal orders, tried some of the other stuff, and was so disappointed. Like, I tried their sandwich with the hard-boiled eggs and American cheese.
I mean, that just sounds like user error.
Truly,
You
they should
shouldn't
take
have-
it off the menu.
That sounds horrible.
It was horrible. It was terrible.
I don't think there's any way you
Wait,
can
who
make
has that?
Snarf's.
They do?
They'll sell you that, yeah.
Yeah,
For
leave
money,
the
American money.
creativity to the stoners and take that off your menu. No one needs that.
Cheese doesn't belong with hard-boiled eggs.
No, it
No.
wasn't good. It wasn't good. They tasted bad.
Oh, yucky.
Oh,
But
Gross.
my old favorites, the standbys, the vegetarian with the full Snarf is terrific. And then I also love the eggplant parmesan. They don't always cook the eggplant through enough, but they slice it nice and thin, and that makes for a really good sandwich. Especially for someone like me who used to really love eating meatball subs, but now doesn't do that kind of thing anymore. This eggplant parmesan from Snarf's is a really good representation of that same flavor profile.
So where are you going?
I'm trying to delay so I don't have to say
I can
it.
tell. Just say it, Paul.
I think I have to go Snarf's. Because Cheba Hut doesn't offer anything that I specifically want. I think they have great
Yeah,
ingredients.
I kinda felt that way
I think
too.
they have great bread. I think they have interesting, provocative menu items, and the theme for it. I enjoy thinking about that and immersing myself in a different culture. But it's just there's no one sandwich there that's like, oh yeah, I gotta go back for that one. Gotta go back for
You're
the
making
cream
me
cheese.
Paul, I feel you
guac
on that
one.
so hard because in this particular challenge, the choices I made, Cheba Hut's French dip was better. But I had a hard time finding anything on the menu that spoke to me that wasn't an insane modification. And I can walk into Snarf's and get my Italian, and it's bomb every time.
Yeah, dependability. for sure.
Yeah.
We had somebody who called in with that exact thing, and I thought it was a really good point. He was just like, the barrier to entry for Cheba Hut is too high. He's like, Snarf's is always going to have something you recognize and and it's going to have a standard sandwich option, but Cheba Hut almost gets too creative in that sense. And for people like me and the person who called, that's a barrier to entry,
I think I'm going to have to go with Snarf's too. Even though in the sandwich I ate, Cheba Hut's was better. But I probably wouldn't go back there. We'll probably order Snarf's again next week. We order it a couple times a month.
Yeah, totally. I'm the same way. Well, there we go. Snarf's is our winner, 3-1. Well, congratulations to Snarf's. on your victory. We did get some listener voicemails. Let's hear some other folks' opinions.
Hi, I'm calling in about the Snarf versus Cheba Hut debate. This is David, Cap Hill. Snarf burger definitely would beat Cheba Hut, but if we're going sandwiches, there's no place better than the Fruity Pebble marshmallow bites. Give me the pinner. Cheba Hut all day.
Hi, this is Jay from Cheese and Park, and I have to say Mr. Lucky's definitely is the best sandwich in Denver. We've had Cheba Hut. We've had quite a few of the other independents as well, and I just think that Mr. Lucky's takes the cake.
Hi, this is Jenny, and I live in University Park. The thing is that you're asking Snarfs versus Cheba Hut, but I'm thinking Yampa Sandwich Company. I love them ever since they used to be Backcountry Provisions in Steamboat Springs, and now they're here. I highly recommend the Pilgrim. The Pilgrim is everything Thanksgiving on a sandwich. Okay, thanks, Bree.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli and Aaron O'Toole. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter, and I'm your host, Bree Davies. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe and rate 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at CityCast Denver, and tell Jimmy Seidel and Scott Jennings about us next time you see them. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. Later. Snarfs, please name a sandwich after us.
What would be our sandwich?
That would be really hard because we clearly all like something
Very
different on a
divergent
sandwich.
opinions. Yeah.
I don't think that we could do it. It would end up looking like a Cheba Hut sandwich.
We'd all pick our very favorite sandwich ingredient and then make one sandwich out of that. And mine would be salami. I love salami.
I know.
in a
I was like,
sandwich.
that would be mine too. Be double salami.
I was going to say artichoke hearts, but that's not going to go with this.
I love artichoke hearts.
Never had it in a sandwich though. It feels
Well, actually, I did have one from Snarf's, and I would like to remake that sandwich because I've had a artichoke heart and Parmesan cheese kind of thing. It's really rich and decadent. Theirs was good, but it had feta instead, which was kind of interesting, but it wasn't what I wanted. If that
feta
makes
is
sense.
a very particular tasting,
I'm not into feta.
textured cheese.
All right, salami, artichoke hearts. For me, we're going to make it swim. Oil and vinegar everywhere.
That's your ingredient?
We just invented the grossest sandwich. An oily salami and artichoke heart sandwich.
Double the salami for me.
Double the salami.
No lettuce,
it's actually
apparently.
just 2 giant hunks of salami with artichoke hearts between it, and then you just drizzle it in oil.
Yeah.
And come with a side cup of oil for dipping.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
CityCast Snarf.
You heard it here first, Snarfs.
Gross.